Draft 2026 presented by State Street Investment will be taking place on April the 3rd on ESPN. Oh, let's go. So, the WNBA 14th and 15th franchise, the Portland Fire and Toronto Tempo, set to begin play in May, will begin assembling their rosters, their respective rosters, when the league conducts the WNBA expansion draft on in 2026. Now, the coverage of the draft will be appeared on ESPN.
The WNBA expansion draft has an official date. The league announced that the 2026 expansion draft, presented by State Street Investment Management, will take place on April 3rd and air on ESPN at 3:30 p.m. PT. The Portland Fire and Toronto Tempo, the league's 14th and 15th franchises, will begin assembling their rosters through that process before play begins in May.
ESPN, which will air the WNBA expansion draft, and a special 2026 presented by State Street Investment Management SPY at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, it goes on to say a coin toss will be conducted between Portland and Toronto, right? So that's how the draft is going to be set up. A coin toss on the 27th, which is in 2 days. That's Friday. So with the winner having
a coin toss between Portland and Toronto was scheduled for March 27th. The winner gets to choose between either the first overall selection in the expansion draft or the 6th pick in the first round of the annual draft, set for April 13th. As part of the expansion draft preparation, all 13 existing teams are required to submit their full roster protection lists to the league office by Sunday, March 29th. The submission must account for every player the team holds rights to, including those on active, suspended, draft, reserve, core, and retired lists.
Friday. So with the winner having the right to choose between either receiving the first selection in the expansion draft or the 6th pick rather than the 7th pick in the first round of the annual draft, which is scheduled to take place April 13th. So the draft got to keep their same date. Now, let's see what this other form says. So the other form goes into detail. It says, in preparation for the expansion draft, each of the existing 13 teams will be required to submit the league office by.
That means the league will know within days exactly who each franchise has chosen to shield and who they've left available. For Indiana, the protection decisions have drawn significant attention. One player widely expected to go unprotected is Bree Turner, though the full picture of her current contract status adds some uncertainty to that projection. The broader question of what the Fever's roster looks like heading into the season remains open, particularly in the wake of the new CBA agreed upon March 18th.
Teams will be required to submit the league office by Sunday, March 29th. The roster list that includes every player to whom the team has rights, players on the team's active suspended draft list, reserve, core, or retired list. So we going to find out who's going to be protected. Now, this is very interesting, going back to the Indiana Fever, because we know there's one player that I think won't be protected. And this is going.
The new collective bargaining agreement caught several teams off guard financially, with Aaliyah Boston's raise coming in higher than most anticipated and Caitlin Clark's deal growing due to a specific marketability clause embedded in the agreement. On the subject of Clark, Ryan Ruocco, speaking in an interview with Robin Lundberg, offered a tease regarding her upcoming signature shoe. Without revealing specifics, Ruocco indicated the shoe has been seen by people close to the situation and described it in emphatic terms, suggesting the release will more than meet the expectations of anyone who has been waiting on it. Diana Taurasi also resurfaced in the news cycle, speaking with Malika Andrews about Clark and the topic of players wearing her retired number.
We know there's one player that I think won't be protected. And this is going to come out of left field. I know y'all going to be like, who John talking about? I believe Brianna Turner will more than likely not be protected, based on everything. But hell, I don't even know if she's still under contract 100%, but I don't think that they're going to protect her. But this is very, 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 very interesting. Now, an article has been released by the Indy Star that came out today. It said Indiana Fever off-season priorities under the.
Taurasi has been visibly active in media appearances recently, which has prompted speculation that she may be transitioning into a broadcasting role. Separately, Torossi spoke about the new CBA in broader terms, framing it as the result of decades of collective effort from players across multiple generations. In her words, the fight for fair pay and equitable treatment has been ongoing throughout the WNBA's entire 30-year existence, and this agreement represents a meaningful step forward, though not an endpoint.
Has been released by the Indy Star that came out today. It said Indiana Fever offseason priorities under the agreement of the new CBA. The WNBA and players announced they agreed to a new collective bargaining agreement on March the 18th. Now, the question next will be, what's going to happen with the Indiana Fever roster? You know, that's what I want to know. I know that's what a lot of you guys want to know. And I don't know, man. We just got to wait and see. It says the WNBA has moved to a Spencer draft from the tempo.
The sentiment was shared across the league, with many veterans and current players acknowledging the deal as a landmark moment for the sport's long-term foundation. The expansion draft and the protection deadline this weekend effectively mark the real beginning of the WNBA offseason news cycle. Free agency decisions, roster construction, and the first public look at what Portland and Toronto will be built around are all set to follow in rapid succession.
For the Temple on Fire to April 3rd, coin toss this upcoming Friday. ESPN broke it all down. Now, I've been seeing the different reports about this whole situation with Caitlin Clark and this whole Fox thing, man. With Caitlin Clark being listed at number 2. I know a lot of y'all sent it to me. I did not make a video about it because we already know what they do. This is what they do, bro. Should nobody be surprised when it comes to
the unofficial start of the WNBA season has arrived, and it came in the form of the first venue relocation announcement of the year. 2 Indiana Fever road games against the Atlanta Dream June 20th and August 16th have been bumped from their original location to State Farm Arena, where the Hawks play. The stated reason is a scheduling conflict, which has become something of a running joke among fans who have watched the same pattern repeat across multiple seasons.
Nobody be surprised when it comes to the mainstream media and how they treat Caitlin Clark. She's not one of them. She's one of us. She's a little different. And not only is she a little different, she's hella good. Something else that I want to touch base with before we close out is news about Caitlin Clark's signature shoe. Shout out to Robin Lundberg. So Robin Lundberg interviewed Ryan Ruocco.
Wanted to know about Caitlin's shoes for quite a long time.
I know some things. I can't say them. The only thing I can say.
Scheduling conflicts that consistently seem to involve Caitlin Clark and arenas that suddenly need significantly more seats. The Atlanta Dream's home court carries a reputation for being one of the more visually dull venues in the league, a gray, lifeless floor that stands out for all the wrong reasons. State Farm Arena is a considerable upgrade on every level, and the bump makes economic sense for both franchises involved.
How about the Toronto Tempo? Oh, you trying to see Caitlin Clark up there? Is that what you're trying to do? You're about to pay some real money to get that done. And I'm going to show you in a minute. Guys, we just started. You know what? This may be the honorary kickoff to the season right here, because when I start doing videos about games being moved, we're off and going. We're full 2025 early.
The Dreams organization clearly understands the financial reality of hosting a Fever game in 2026. The CBA just got finalized. Money is on everyone's mind.
We're full 2025 early preseason action. That's where we're at now. Indiana Fever, our games against the Atlanta Dream on June 20th and August 16th have been moved to State Farm Arena. Number one, can we praise baby Jesus for a minute for not having to look at those stale-ass gray, that gray court? We don't have to see that, right? That's not at State Farm Arena. They're going to where the...
Clark walking into town is still the most reliable revenue event the league produces. The Toronto number tells the whole story more bluntly than anything else. The Fever's mid-August road game at Scotiabank Arena is nearly sold out, and those tickets moved in a matter of hours.
That's not at State Farm Arena. They're going to where the Hawks play. My God, every time they go play in that dungeon, I want to hang myself and let somebody find me. Seriously, it drives me up a tree. Right here, June 20th, August 16th. Cha-ching! Everybody remember, we're moving games because of a scheduling conflict? Anybody remember that action? Anybody remember? You.
As of late March, the cheapest upper bowl seats were going for $150 face value, with lower bowl tickets ranging from $400 to $700. 18,000 seats gone in an afternoon. Toronto doesn't even have a full roster assembled yet.
Anybody remember? Your boy did. My goodness, those scheduling conflicts. You mean scheduling conflicts called Caitlin Clark. Gotcha. Oh, but you could believe the Atlanta Dream, that franchise hearing it too. Scheduling conflict strikes again. Yeah, just say it. To channel The Empire Strikes Back.
The expansion tempo have almost no players to speak of, but Caitlin Clark on the schedule is apparently sufficient to fill a professional arena months before opening night. The contrast gets sharper when placed next to a comparable game. Tickets for the Portland Fire hosting the Las Vegas Aces, a matchup featuring the reigning league MVP and A'ja Wilson, were sitting at $52.
To channel The Empire Strikes Back. I am your father. Caitlin Clark's your daddy. Would that be your mama? Caitlin Clark's your mama. Big Mama's in the house. That didn't take long. We're off and running. Of course, we all know arena's got to make room when the queen comes to town. Money. Yay, we don't have to see the ugly gray court. Thank God.
The equivalent Fever game was $214. That's a $162 gap per seat between the player who wins every individual award the league hands out and the player the league spent considerable energy downplaying during her first 2 seasons. The market doesn't adjust its answer based on press releases.
God, I wasn't the only one. Jesus, it's so depressing. The schedule conflict is back. So no ugly gray court. That's great. That's great. But wait, I thought the Fever don't move the needle. Yeah. Face that runs the place hoops officially back. Yeah, boy.
There's a darker dimension to all of this momentum worth acknowledging. The wider the commercial gap grows between Clark and everyone else on the floor, the more likely it becomes that tensions inside locker rooms start rebuilding. The 2024 and 2025 seasons both featured stretches where frustration from other players was impossible to miss physically and verbally.
Officially back. Yeah, boy. So it begins. I love it. We're here. Of course it was. Dream want that CC stimulus check. Oh, the check's in the mail. Yeah. Scheduling conflict. Year 3. It's good. We're not stopping there, folks. Shout out to my boy, CDS Sports Podcast. Go subscribe if you have not.
Clark returning healthy, with venue upgrades and instant sellouts trailing her immediately, is the exact environment that produced that friction before. League leadership would be smart to track how the competitive temperature shifts once the season starts and attendance figures become impossible to spin. The injury situation from last season and how ticket holders were left scrambling to rearrange plans is still recent enough that patience with any repeat would be thin.
CDS Sports Podcast. Go subscribe if you have not. He sent me this, gave me the heads up. Greg Brady? The Greg Brady? No, not. Here's a story of a man named Brady. Not that Greg Brady. No. The Indiana Fever Toronto Tempo WNBA game for mid-August at Scotiabank Arena is nearly sold out. In August, it is March 25th, folks.
For now, the venue moves are back, the sellouts are back, the economic engine is running again, and the season hasn't even started.